Hi, I'm Bani Abidi. I'm an artist living in Berlin.
Ticket number 800, please go to counter 1.
Hello, Bani Abidi. Thanks for being here, for that interview related to our program called Double Feature, where we show one of your films, The Distance from Here. What I see in a lot of your films is there is this public space, and it's a stage at some point, but it's also this space where a real situation happens, like a real situation that happens in this everyday life. The observation, like the reality, become fiction through the way how you stage it.
Yeah, the Distance from Here, which is showing this evening, that kind of a place actually does exist in real life. So it's a recreation, it's a facsimile of an actual space in Islamabad. And so there is a place where there are lines on the ground, but I recreated it somewhere else in order to shoot it. There is a bit of a confusing moment that is this a documentary or is this been produced? And then you realize in a bit that yes, there are track shots, there's multiple things happening that show that it's a fiction. So the human body in a public space, choreographed, is something that I'm interested in. It ends up becoming fiction because I want to compress a lot of things, but it ends up looking like real life in many ways. But I know for sure that I would never go out with a camera and try to do this and just surrender myself to the moment and try and do the same thing.
It's so focused and concentrated on one single gesture in a way, that it's a sort of humor that is not about laughing about other people, but laughing about this very common and real situation.
I have, when I see these moments, and I hope others have when they see the work, is kind of the smile of recognition rather than laughing. But it's there's a sweetness, there's a love in it, there's empathy, there's love in that moment of recognition. You're not feeling bad for people, but you kind of understand that you've been there in the same space. But of course, it is about the absurdities of life that we all really, we accept. On a daily basis, I don't think we're even aware of how many absurdities we just work with and don't question.
It seems as if the waiting situation becomes as bureaucratic as the bureaucratic event itself is. Like,
yes,
waiting is a kind of ritual.
Yeah, it's a very detailed one, and everyone knows it. So before you're going in for it, you know that you have to leave your phone. So everyone recommends, don't even try taking a snack box with you. They won't let you take it in. And the sweetest and the funniest is that when you sit on a bus, it's a shuttle service that takes you into the embassy, the neighborhood of the embassies, which is called the diplomatic enclave. And you go in there, and the man who's taking the bus, he says, "Oh, Nairobi's here, da, da, da. Now it's England," and so he just says the name of the country, and doesn't say embassy of blah blah blah. So at that point, even I felt that I've just arrived at the doorstep of the country, but I had just arrived at the embassy. But that's and there are all these funny geographies that get created because Nairobi suddenly. Is next to Kenya is next to the UK, and these funny things happen. But it's it's also just the anticipation and the fear and the hope and of all of these people that is deeply moving.
What you very often do is to talk about authorities as if they were not needed, let's say like that. As if the only thing they really do is to keep authority about the situation.
I know. I mean, I do know that I like laughing at power or any person or institution which takes itself too seriously. I do want to bring it down in some ways. But yeah, I have no imagination of how I would take authority seriously. Yeah. I have no capacity to imagine that in some ways. And I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. But the impulse is immediately to find it as a barrier to a lot of things. towards thinking freely or moving freely or being, and they're forms of patriarchy or authority in terms of government or the state, which is always coming in the way of human behavior rather than facilitating it in some ways. And I have to say that the waiting is a very interesting way of power manifesting itself. I mean, it's actually something that politicians would use if you're reading about people like Putin now, and you go back into the history of their behavior, making somebody wait who's come to see them, making them wait 2 hours, 3 hours is actually very offensive and a very meant to frustrate. So I'm sort of interested in how that happens, this prolonged stage of waiting.
Of course, public space is controlled. You are not unobserved in public space. Always a reason to, let's say, secure and protect at the same time. So in this tension, in a way.
But I have to say that I think that the kind of regulations that can be enacted in a place like Germany, or even when I was living in Chicago, that was very source of great amusement for me, is that things are used for the precise thing which they're designated for. And that level of control and fining and monitoring is just not there in a place like Karachi or a lot of South Asian cities, or I don't know, I haven't traveled that extensively through the global South, but I think for me it's always very interesting of what are the transgressions of what a sidewalk can be used for. When does a certain economy happen on the sidewalk? When do private gestures happen, and who occupies them? So the sidewalk in public space is just there's so much that is different in different cities of how people use public space.
Yeah.
Also, I feel that one of the reasons why I do fiction is because I'm very conscious of being a woman and being and my class, and being an upper middle class kind of woman, and stepping into a working class street and just barging in there with my camera. I don't feel I have the right to do a lot of these things. So it's gender, class, so much plays out in public. These are the places where confrontations and negotiations happen. Even in a place like, of course, in a place like Berlin. So it's so ripe for being witnessed and observed, and there's so much that happens just sitting and watching it.
Yeah. The dominant speech, the dominant language of the first world would say that this is that is something of order and regulation and security and so on. How to cross the street, how to walk on the on that pedestrian zone, and
of
how
course,
to act.
The stereotype of Germans in crossing and breaking red lights. There's huge stereotypes about that kind of following the rules in public spaces.
Yeah.
So there are many there are things. Even recently, I've just been noticing all the people who hang out of their windows, all the old people sitting smoking and staring out on the street, but they also kind of live on the street. So it's great how architecture and private lives kind of just spill over and flow over into public spaces.